On the Bright Side is brought to you by Uno, a brand committed with the future.
I reached to a point where all the doors are closing, losing jobs, relationship problems. And then one day I'm like, I know that my life is, I have more value to it. There's more value to it than just alcohol and drugs, because at the end of the day, alcohol and drugs will never finish, but my life will. And I don't want to end it that way.
Jeff Grajales is at Jacob's Rehabilitation Farm Center for his fight against addiction. He's been struggling with alcoholism for many years and is now on a journey to freedom.
We seem to forget that we are not just hurting ourselves, but the people that actually care and love us, especially families. And we seem to forget the value of our life, our daily lives. Being here, actually, you have time to reflect on life, reflect on your mistakes, not to forget it, but to learn from them.
Mario Castellanos knows what this journey is like. He entered this very same rehabilitation center 9 years ago. Prior to coming here, he was an alcoholic on the verge of drinking himself to death.
I reached to a point in my life where I was hopeless, I was broken, I was falling into depression. And the only thoughts that came into my mind was taking out my own life, because I felt that there was no other way. I started with alcohol at the age of 12. It slowly went progressing. I didn't have an idea about what alcohol could cause into our lives.
Mario was considered fully alcoholic at the age of 15. As a teenager, he struggled with anger and even engaged in frequent street fights.
Literally, I was about to be thrown away on the streets. And I reached to that point where I used to sleep on the streets. And because my alcoholism went progressing to the point that I didn't only wanted to consume alcohol, but I was into crack and cocaine and cigarette and weed and all that stuff that is out there today.
Castellanos cannot recall how he found himself in this rehab. He described it as an act of fate. He was running from consequences of his addiction and stumbled on what would be the start of a journey to freedom.
I was not looking for a change. I was running away from police and other people that I had fight the night before. But it was during the process that I can end up discovering that I cannot continue with my lifestyle. So I can say that it's a mysterious way how I end up being here, but that's the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me.
Yeah. Jacob's Rehabilitation Farm Center is a nonprofit, faith-based organization. It is currently home to 13 addicts ranging from ages 18 to 60. Now with a full capacity, they are working on expanding their dormitory.
We have Orange Rock, Corozal, we have Belmopan from Cayo.
And what are the addictions, what are the ranges of addictions that are currently present at Jacob's Farm?
We can say 50-50 with alcohol and crack cocaine and alcohol right now. We have a program called Journey to Freedom, and it guides us through a well-structured guide that leads us through the 5 steps of change.
The first step is pre-contemplation, also considered denial, where a user would not readily accept that there is indeed an addiction problem.
You start to blame others. It's my wife, it's my job, it's this, it's that, it's that. You don't want to accept the fact that you have a problem, and you start to blame others.
The second step is contemplation. At this point, the addict would accept that there is indeed a problem. Most residents of Jacob's Rehabilitation Farm Center admit themselves at step 2. But Castellanos shared that reaching step 2 does not mean that the healing automatically starts. Some people remain there and simply accept their reality.
So what we try to do is we try to encourage our residents, just as I did, to move to the third step of change, which is preparation. Preparation is when you have accepted that you have a problem, you have come out from denial, you have realized that you have a problem, and then you're willing to make that change happen in your life. So you start to prepare yourself. We start to look, we start to seek help.
After steps 3 change, the 4th step is action. This is the hardest part of the journey to freedom. The commitment to change takes place and self-discovery follows. This step leads to the 5th and final, maintenance.
How we can keep our sobriety, and how we can keep our sobriety is by staying connected with a supportive group, because we realize that we are powerless, we cannot do this on our own. We stay connected, we find help, and we give back what we have received. And that is the most important thing, to just give back what you have received.
For Mario, giving back through maintenance began in 2017. He served as the director of Restore Ministries, but in 2019, he was tapped to give back in an even bigger way. Mario is now director of rehabilitation at Jacob's Rehabilitation Farm Center.
Looking back into my life and seeing myself being on the streets, to be the director of rehabilitation in Jacob's Farm, that blows out my own mind. How can this ever happen, from being on the streets to be serving in a ministry like this? I mean, if God could have done that with me, that means that He can do that with whomever is willing to make that change happen in his or her life.
Looking on the bright side, I'm Sabrina Daly.
On the Bright Side was brought to you by Uno, a brand committed with the future.
From now on, when you visit Uno, you will experience an A+ power in all fuels. Dynamax has evolved into Dynamax Plus. The new formula with the ultimate technology and additives provides an A+ power and A+ performance. Dynamax Plus, available in diesel, regular and premium. Try it today and reach further. Uno, a different energy.